All right, good afternoon, YouTube. You clicked on this video because you want to know if you should get a suppressor. The short answer is, of course, yes, but there are a lot of other details, right? There are a lot of things to consider, so watch the video, right? We're gonna go over what a suppressor is, which sounds stupid, but I think people get a weird idea about suppressors and don't understand the real pros and cons of them. We're also gonna talk about how difficult is it? How expensive are they? And maybe which suppressor you should choose, right? So first off, what is a suppressor, right? Do they change the feeling of your firearm? I would say yes. So suppressors are not Hollywood quiet most of the time. This is my Yankee Hill Manufacturing R45, right? It is my first suppressor. I'm currently waiting for my second suppressor to finish its certification process. So hopefully next week, we'll see. But it does reduce the sound signature on your weapon a lot. It reduces the muzzle flash, right? It also weighs a lot and adds 6.5 inches of barrel length, right? Pros and cons. I personally really like the R45. It's a 45 caliber suppressor. I bought it primarily for suppressing my AP5 and my AP5P, which is in the other room. You guys have seen that in videos. And on these weapons with subsonic ammunition, I get close to Hollywood quiet. The MP5 platform is maybe, in my opinion, the best suppressor host. Out of everything I've shot, this and the 1022 are the most fun. This is the closest you're ever gonna get to Call of Duty, both in look, feel, sound, especially if you have a brace on your AP5 or if you SBR it. Obviously, this does make it like a 15.5 inch barrel. So it makes it basically a rifle, and you could actually pin and weld this if you wanted and make it a carbine. So that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't think about when they buy a suppressor, but it will add pretty serious length to your rifle or your handgun or whatever you're putting it on. But overall, 9mm suppresses fantastic, right? This is a 45 caliber can, so you can run it up to 45-70. I can't imagine it being that quiet, but you could do that, right? It's also full auto rated for 308 and 5.56 out of 16-inch barrels. So I'm going to include a little video right here so you can see it. Out of the 5.56, it is not quite hearing safe. It is quieter, and it also reduces recoil just because it's so heavy, and you are like reducing the amount of gas exploding. It's containing it, you know, like a car muffler. But it's not Hollywood quiet. On a rifle, it is not Hollywood quiet at all, especially out of a 308. I mean, you still need hearing protection. It's more pleasant, right? But like on my normal AR, I would say it's comparable to shooting a 1022 unsuppressed. So I usually don't wear hearing protection, but you should. This is like a large opening can. This is a subgun can that I just happen to run on rifles, right? But overall, it makes shooting a much more pleasurable experience. I've shot this on 16-inch barrel 9mm, terrific. Yeah, I had this on a Henry Homesteader for a little while, ran fantastic. So I would say if you can get a suppressor, get one. They make shooting more pleasant. They're gonna make your friends want to shoot it. It looks awesome. Everyone's gonna ask you on the range, oh, what is this? Oh, it's a suppressor, right? It sounds cool. Even if it's still loud, it does sound different. And I would say sounds cooler, personally. And like, if you ever don't want it on there, it's not like a permanent addition, right? So I can still have my compact little truck gun. There's a bunch of threads on here, right? And then suddenly I have my short little AP5 again, right? So I would say get a suppressor. So you've decided that you want a suppressor. Now you have to choose what suppressor do you want. What are you planning on suppressing? Do you want a rifle suppressor, a pistol suppressor, or like something very small like a 22, right? Because you can get a dedicated 22 long rifle suppressor. It's going to be very light. It's going to be fantastic. It's probably going to be pretty quiet on your 1022 or your little 22 Charger. It's also going to explode if you shoot 223 through it. What do you want, right? For me, I wanted to primarily suppress subguns right? Don't buy an MP5 unless you want to trick yourself into buying suppressors, right? But anyway, I ended up with 2 MP5s, and I said I have to suppress these things, but I don't want to go through this whole process and then not be able to suppress other handguns and subguns, right? Because in the future, I would certainly like to get a Chris Vector in 10 mil or 45 ACP, or even one of those goofy high point carbines. So I went with a 45 caliber can. I don't own anything above 45 caliber. I don't imagine I will have anything above 45 caliber for a long time. And if I do, I'm probably not suppressing it with something like this. Desert Eagles are expensive. That's the only thing I could really think of that would be like suppressible even. Anyway, so 45 caliber can. For me, that really filled my needs. You can shoot 9 mil through it. You can shoot, depending on what you get, right? I got I would say a mid-tier. These are heavy. It's the YHMs. They are kind of no frills. They're heavy and they're not super quiet, but they are full auto rated on almost anything you put them on, right? So I spent the extra money. I think I paid $600 plus a $200 tax stamp. So $800 all in for something I can throw on any 16-inch barreled rifle, and I think it's 8 inches on a 300 blackout, which I don't currently own, but these do apparently run really well on 300 blackouts, and then all of my subguns, right? This will run on your Glocks. If you get a Nielsen device, it will run on your AP5s. It'll run on your CZ Scorpions, and that's, in my opinion, maybe the best thing to suppress. Like I said, I ran this on a Henry Homesteader briefly. Ran fantastic. So, other options, if you're a rifle guy, right, maybe you're a prepared citizen, you say, I want to suppress my rifle, and I want it to be fairly quiet. I want a Skookum suppressor. Well, the suppressor that I have coming, right, I say coming, it's already down the street, right? ADL Outfitters already has it. I'm just waiting for my Form 4 to clear, but that is a 30 caliber can. And that you can drop down to, I believe, a 10-inch barrel for 223, 5.56. I think a 12-inch barrel for 308, and it's rated up to 300 Win Mag full auto, right? That's a lot of firepower. 300 Win Mag full auto. I've never met anyone with anything that is full auto in 300 Winchester Magnum, but you know, if I build up a 300, right, which isn't unheard of, right? A lot of precision rifles are chambered in 300 Win Mag. I'd like to be able to suppress it. So I'll have this as a dedicated subgun can, and I will have the Resonator R2. See, I would have it in my hand if I had it. I'll have it next week, hopefully. But that will be just for rifles, right? I will keep it probably on my home defense rifle, but it has a quick detach system. I did a YouTube short on it, the Phantom system. So it will be interchangeable between my AR-10 and my 223 5.56 rifles, primarily. And this will just live on MP5s or whatever I'm dicking off with, you know. So, choose what kind of suppressor you want. I really like the YHM cans. I think per dollar, you're getting a terrific can. They've been in the industry. I mean, they're one of the oldest suppressor manufacturers. They've been making their stuff for a long time. Super solid. I haven't had any problems, so I can't speak to customer service. But the suppressor came with a sticker, and I got this super handy little wrench with it. So that's cool, right? Tighten it down, and then you can also do muzzle devices. So I actually also use this when I'm removing like an A2 bird cage, because whenever you buy something from Palmetto State, it always has it already installed, and I hate those. Pull them off with this super handy little wrench. This, and a sticker for $600, and then you pay the $200 tax stamp. That's a whole other can of beans, right? But 30 caliber or 45 would be my personal recommendations, but if you're somebody who only shoots, you know, 17 Hornet or 17 HMR, then buy a 17 caliber suppressor. But just know if you buy something a little oversized, it's going to be a little loud. Like if you buy a 30 caliber suppressor, it's going to be a little louder than a 5.56 can. But you've got the ability now to shoot 308, 300 Win Mag, right? 7mm .8, 300 blackout, 7.62x39, 300 Legend. Yeah, I don't know. I would say 30 caliber can is a good way to go for a rifle can. But it's all up to you. All right. So you've decided what can you want. You have the money set aside, and you're ready to begin the process. The first thing you're going to want to do is find a local silencer shop kiosk, or at least that's what I did. You can also go through some FFLs. We'll walk you through the process, right? If you have a good local gun shop. Personally, both times I've used Silencer Shop and they've been pretty good to work with. You go to the kiosk, you download the app, you fill out your information, right? Where do you live? They take your fingerprints. For me, that wasn't a big deal because the government's had my fingerprints for the last 4 years. And if they really wanted to find me, they would just look at a recall roster, right? I'm already a Fed, so like I was not that weirded out by having to give up my fingerprints. But if you live in a cabin in the woods and you're trying to buy this suppressor to like fight the government, maybe don't. But for me, it wasn't a big deal. They already got me, right? They have me for another 3 years because I extended to come to Georgia, so I'm gonna be a Fed for a while. Anyway, once you get your fingerprints taken, your address, you're gonna have to upload a picture of your face. Pretty easy process. I was able to do it in an afternoon, and most gun stores will help walk you through the process. Super helpful, right? If you have a good local gun shop. I did my first one up in Alaska with Alaska Ammo. They were terrific to work with, right? So you go in, you're gonna wanna tell them that you're buying a suppressor, right? Because it's gonna ship to them. Just giving them a heads up. Then you're gonna go on the website, on Silencer Shop, you're gonna pick out what you want. You're gonna add a $200 tax stamp to your order, right? Frankly, ridiculous, but that's beside the point. You're gonna purchase it, and that is the scary part, because you do have to buy the suppressor before the paperwork starts, right? So if you don't have the money set aside, it is tough saying, oh, here's $1,000, hopefully within the next 18 months I'll have this can, right? That is scary. I really didn't like that originally, but it is what it is. And generally the process is fairly smooth as long as you're not like a felon or anything. If you are anybody who could go in and buy a rifle, then you should be fine on this background check, right? So you go in, you start the paperwork. Once you order the can, you will get an email from Silencer Shop, right? And it's going to say you have to sign these documents allowing them to ship your name to the FFL to do the paper, right? You're releasing your name to allow them to do not only the tax stamp process, which they charge like a $4 fee, because it's $204.95 for their tax stamp. I think it's worth paying the extra $4 to have them do all of that, and I just wait for my can to show up. But it's beside the point. So you're paying $205, right? They're going to send you these documents, you sign them. You're going to go to the website and it's going to say preparing e-forms, and it's going to say that for possibly weeks. And that's going to be scary because you're going to say, why does it still say preparing e-forms? I already signed the document. I haven't gotten a phone call from anyone, right? And you're going to get a little paranoid because you just spent $1,000 on this piece of metal and you're just hoping it gets to you. But trust the process, right? So the preparing e-form screen is going to be there. Maybe I'll have an image down here. I do that like as if it'll be there. Anyway, it's going to be like that for a while, right? What's happening behind the scenes is Silencer Shop is filling out an E-Form 3, right? Which sometimes those get approved in as little as like 2 hours. I think the median wait time is like 23 hours right now. Insanely fast, right? It's not the world it was 5 years ago. So that Form 3 allows Silencer Shop, the current owner of the suppressor, kind of, I guess, the current holder, to mail, first-class mail, to your local gun store. Right? These guys have a license, these guys have a license, but they need to say, please, federal government, let me mail this suppressor to this guy. Let me mail this gun muffler, right? So anyway, that Form 3 happens. You're getting your serial number uploaded. They're getting all the papers prepared so that as soon as these guys get it, boop, they can say, oh, look, this is Mr. Stewart's suppressor. Boop, 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 boop. Hello, ATF. I would like to submit this Form 4. Boop, 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 boop. So all these papers are getting filled out, they're getting created, Silencer Shop's doing all that, your local gun store is doing all that, they're talking to each other. You aren't going to be in the loop, but trust me, wheels are moving, but it's going to be scary to look at that page and it just says preparing e-forms for like sometimes 3 or 4 weeks. I think my latest one was like 3 weeks or something. Anyway, it gets shipped here, boop, gets to your local gun shop. You're going to get an email from Silencer Shop and it's going to say, your suppressor is ready to certify. It's ready to prepare and certify. And you're going to go down to your local gun store, right? You're going to call them up and you're going to say, hey, is my suppressor in? And they're going to say, yes, Mr. Stewart, your suppressor is in. Come down and we'll certify. They pull up a computer screen. They have one behind the counter. They do their typing. You fill out, I am the actual purchaser of this suppressor. I have my tax stamp submitted, right? I have the money sent. You're going to sign your name. You're going to type in your PIN, right, from the ATF. You are going to create an ATF account. Silencer Shop can walk you through that. You do that when you purchase the suppressor. They send you a username. You don't get to make it. Mine is just like my last name with like 12 random digits and like a freaking swear word. I don't know. They make it up. They send it to you. You bring that in. You make a PIN, whatever PIN you want it to be. You come down with all of your stuff written down in your head or on a piece of paper or on your phone. Hey, I'm Court Stewart. 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, whatever the fuck your digits are. Mine aren't all 12s, but you know what I'm saying here. Pretty easy process. The paperwork runs, you get a little beach ball of death. It spins on the screen. You say, oh, I hope it works. And then after 2 or 3 minutes, it goes through. The guy behind the counter says, all right, Mr. Stewart, we'll let you know when it's certified. You're going to get an email from the ATF. It's going to say EPUBs or what is it? E-notification, right? And it says, hey, your Form 4 has been submitted. And it's going to give you your Form 4. And the word submitted is going to be stamped on there like Black Ops 1. And it's going to have your start date. And it's going to have an empty box below it. This is finish date. So in 2 days or 18 months or whenever you get your suppressor, you're going to get an email from the ATF. Approved from that same email that sent you the submitted. You're going to get a call from your gun shop and they say, hey, Mr. Stewart, your suppressor is ready to pick up. And you say, fantastic. Bring whatever documents that you would need in your state to purchase a firearm, right? So in my case, I need my military ID and orders. If you're in the military, most states, that's going to be the case. Bring down orders that say Georgia, otherwise they're going to turn you away because you just can't pass the NICS test. Any state, that you are stationed in, as long as your orders say you're stationed there and you have a military ID or any sort of government ID, you should be chilling, right? If you're in a state that you live in, right, if you're like a normal person, then just go down with your Alaska driver's license and your car title or any piece of mail with your name on it and address and say, look, I'm from Alaska. Here's my Eclipse title. And it's like, 5 minutes. It's the same background test that they do when you're buying any other firearm. You walk away with the can, it's yours to keep, it's yours. It's exclusively yours. You can't lend it to anybody. You cannot sell it without ATF permission. This item is tied to you, so don't lose it. Don't lend it to your friends because they will come after you, right? This is an NFA item, right? The National Firearms Act of 1934. This is a protected item and it's your item, so don't give it away unless you do the paperwork. But then you're good to enjoy it. Unlike an SBR, you can cross as many state lines as you want as long as that state isn't like California, New York, or I think Maryland, right? The anti-freedom states. But like when I moved down to Georgia, I had this handgun, right? Handgun with the forearm brace. And I had this suppressor attached to it. And I had it in a Pelican case. And I just brought it to TSA and I shipped it down. That was my check bag. That's all I brought to Georgia was like a pillow, a sleeping bag, and an MP5. It's cool. I like traveling light. Make sure you have your tax stamp paper, the approval letter printed out. I have 4 copies of it, right? I have one in my gun room. I have one in my range bag. I have one in my Pelican case. And then I have an extra one because you never know we're going to lose one. And at any time, law enforcement can say, hey, is that really your suppressor? And you say, yes, officer, I've printed out the paperwork. It's my suppressor, Mr. Stewart. And they will hopefully leave you alone. But you want to have that on you. I also have a digital copy on my phone, but you never know when your phone battery is going to die, and you don't want a dead battery to lead to jail time, right? Because legally, even if it is your suppressor, if you don't have proof of that suppressor, you can still be arrested, right? So, spooky, right? This is like George Orwell's 1984. Keep that printed out, keep it on you. But overall, once you have it, enjoy it, shoot with it. I rarely shoot without it now. They're fantastic, right? Quiet. You don't need to bring ear pro anymore if you don't want to, if you're shooting things that will be hearing safe. And it's a pretty easy process. It's easier than it initially looks. It's daunting. It's daunting. And it used to be like an 18-month wait. And that's like, I don't know. I still don't know if it'd be worth it for an 18-month wait, right? I waited 4 days for this one. We'll see how much. The median wait time is 9 days right now, according to the ATF's website. But yeah, now that the times are cut, right? Unless you have like a complication, which sometimes happens. I'm not going to sit here and be like, you will have your suppressor in a week. It might not. But, like, it's quicker than it used to be. So, I recommend buying one, honestly. I go out, get one, train with one, shoot with one. They're fantastic. What can I say? Easy process. All right. Thanks for watching. Check it out. Isn't this funny? This is like legally a handgun. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope that this helped clear things up. If you're looking at getting a suppressor, now's the time. If you liked the video, give it a like, give it a comment. If you didn't like it, give it a comment also. I like bad comments and good comments. Some of my comments are really good. Most of them actually are super chill. So keep commenting. We have big stuff in the future. We will be doing like a real review of this R45, maybe next week, maybe in a month, who the fuck knows. And we'll also be doing a comparison to the R2 when I get it. So, big things. We also have some Magpul products we'll be reviewing soon. Subscribe.